Ukraine's last remaining stronghold is struck, and Russia faces a $2.5 billion toll. On September 28, 2025, the once serene skies over Odessa suddenly became a battleground. 5 Russian caliber NK cruise missiles launched from the Admiral Gregorovich frigate 180 kilometers off the coast sliced through the night sky. Their objective was to obliterate Ukraine's western naval base, the final stronghold of the nation's navy after the fall of Sevastopol. As caliber missiles hammered Odessa, Ukraine's air defenses roared to life. Interceptors tore through the skies, their silver trails cutting through smoke and flame. The city shuddered but stood firm. Crews at the Western Naval Base remained unshaken. Then came a new directive born of resolve, not anger. Operation Iron Swarm was initiated. From secret locations, 540 drones took flight. Not stealthy behemoths, but simple machines guided with precision. Their mission: pierce the heart of Russia. Their target: Severnaya Shipyard in St. Petersburg, the pride of its submarine fleet. Can drones costing $2,000 truly breach Russia's multi-billion-dollar defenses? Will Ukraine's risk pay off or ignite a larger war? Let's find out. September 28, 2025, 3:42 a.m. The misty dawn, the Black Sea, lay eerily still until it was shattered. On the radar screen of Ukraine's Western Naval Base near Odessa, 5 sharp blips suddenly appeared. The officer on duty was stunned. These were no random flashes. Speed exceeding 550 miles per hour. Flight path deadly and direct. A warning flashed on the control panel. Caliber NK cruise missiles launched from the Russian frigate Admiral Gregorovich 180 kilometers off the coast. Their path left no doubt. Their goal: strike head-on at Ukraine's last major naval bastion since the fall of Sevastopol. If this base fell, Ukraine's Black Sea defenses would completely collapse. Inside the command bunker, Commander Oleg Morizov pounded the intercom. Activate NASAMS. All units to combat positions. Seconds later, the NASAMS air defense system roared to life. 5 a.m. 1:20 interceptors shot into the sky, slicing through the dark clouds like silver arrows. Almost immediately, 3 Russian missiles were intercepted and destroyed at an altitude of 6,000 m. Burning debris plummeted into the sea, exploding in white smoke, but 2 missiles slipped through the interceptor net. 3:47 a.m. The first missile struck Ukraine's 312 patrol boats docked at the harbor. The explosion tore the 600-ton ship apart, sending debris across the harbor. Moments later, the second warhead hit the eastern section of the base, detonating inside the maintenance shed. A fireball consumed the hangars and supply depots. In under a minute, a third of the base was crippled. Radar systems buckled, cranes toppled, fuel lines ruptured. Black smoke columns billowed into the night sky. 23 sailors perished instantly, 57 were injured, and millions in vital infrastructure were reduced to mangled wreckage. The attack led to an immediate halt in grain exports from the Odessa corridor, sparking fears of economic ripple effects throughout Eastern Europe. The Black Sea, once calm, was now a battlefield, but this was just the beginning. In Kiev, the retaliation was being meticulously planned, a strike that would send shock waves to Saint Petersburg. 4:10 a.m. Kiev Command Center. The room was silent except for the hiss of oxygen masks and the crackling of burning steel as live footage from Odessa filled the screen. A single image dominated the wall. The Western Naval Base in flames. The docks lay in ruins. The patrol boat Ukraina, 312 in flames. 29 dead, 57 injured. Third of the base crippled. For the Ukrainian Naval Command, this wasn't just an attack. It was a direct challenge. General Mykola Romanenko, head of the Joint Operations Command, stood motionless, his hands clenched. His words were sharp. If they strike at our heart, we will hit them in their veins. Within minutes, the operation was named Iron Swarm, a mission crafted not for vengeance, but to reveal the truth. Target: Severnaya Shipyard in Saint Petersburg, Russia's largest submarine construction site, responsible for building the Yazan M nuclear attack submarine. Destruction would cripple Moscow's long-term naval capabilities. At 4:24, orders were issued across secure networks from Vasilov Air Base. Ukrainian engineers prepared 540
Combat drone à fleet blending.
precision with deception, 240 Sparrow 7 electronic warfare drones equipped with signal jammers and decoy landing gear, 300 Stingray ER suicide UAVs, each carrying a 12 kilograms armor-piercing warhead, guided by a terrain-following algorithm. Each drone cost less than $2,000, but together they carried the impact of a billion-dollar arsenal. Their task: blind, confuse, and then obliterate. At 4:58 a.m., the skies above Kiev trembled. Engines roared to life and the sky filled with wings. The swarms launched in waves stretching more than 12 kilometers into the air, soaring north in a storm of steel and fire. The grief of loss in Odessa had now morphed into fury, clearly focused and directed. Ukraine was no longer on the back foot. They were preparing to strike where Russia would feel the most pain. What do you think? Can drones worth $2,000 really dismantle a fortress protected by billion-dollar systems? 5:23 a.m. The northern sky began to lighten with dawn, as operators dozed off when suddenly the radar screens at the Severnaya Shipyard blinked with warning signals. The 91 N6E Big Bird long-range radar detected hundreds of rapidly approaching targets. In a panic, the command was given: activate all defense systems immediately. Moments later, Panzer S-1 batteries fired up, scanning the horizon. Russian command near crunch shouted one word: mass attack incoming. A wall of missiles erupted. From the launcher, 48 S-400 interceptors tore through the air, forming a deadly umbrella over the Baltic seaport. In mere seconds, almost 240 drones were destroyed mid-flight. Glowing fragments rained down like snow, but this was just a decoy. While Russian radar operators focused on the chaos above, the second wave, the real threat, crept in. 300 Stingray ER drones flew just 15 m above the Neva River, slipping under radar coverage. By the time Russian gunners detected them, it was too late. 5:39 a.m., the first wave slammed into the submarine assembly hangar. An explosion shattered steel scaffolding, igniting fuel tanks. Moments later, more drones struck the steel foundry and welding shops, causing secondary explosions that rocked the entire shipyard. It didn't end there. Second blast tore through Shipyard Number 3, where 3 Yazan M-class submarine hulls were under construction. The pressure wave flattened the scaffolding and tossed steel sheets like paper. Minutes later, the fuel tanks exploded. Flames soared 70 m high, visible across the Neva. The shockwave shattered 1,200 windows in nearby districts. Workers fled in panic, some leaping into the icy river.